welcome to Body Story.
Hi, Coco. Hello. Happy to be here.
Oh, it's so lovely to see you. You just look so danceresque, which is exactly why I have you here. There's
Yes,
something about a ballerina in her bun. It is just something special to me.
thank you. I thought I was gonna like have the hair out and get ready, but I did that thing where I went to sleep without the bonnet on, and it was a wrap. So it's back to fun life, back to the fun.
Oh, Courtney, I'm so happy to have you here. You're a new person in my life. I met you through my sister Santana at a wellness retreat, and you are my Pilates instructor. And we've been connected ever since. So please introduce yourself to those watching and listening, who you are, where you live, and what you do, Courtney.
Hello, everybody. I am Courtney Renee Cochran. I currently live in Brooklyn, New York, but I am from Sacramento, California. And as Coco said, I am a Pilates instructor, but I am also a ballerina and a choreographer and a ballet teacher. So I wear a few different hats, but it's really all about teaching and giving and pretty much sharing movement with people. That's
Mm,
my passion all around, and I do it in lots of different ways. And yeah.
that's great. Why did you agree to sharing your body story today?
Like you said, when we met and we were just connecting and talking, I just thought it was such a very powerful, something very powerful to share. I
Mm,
think the body image, and we all go through so many different things, and I kind of wanted to explore it for myself as well. Because
yeah.
being as a ballet dancer, like I've had so many different relationships with my body throughout my life, and I'm like, you know what? Like I feel like what I can say can help, but then also I'm like, I kind of want to know what my body story is. I
Oh.
discover, where this is coming, where this journey has taken me, I should say.
Yes, and there may be stuff, Courtney, that comes up today that you're like, "Ooh, that is a part of my story." So
Yeah.
that's exciting. Well, first question I ask every woman, what is your body story and where would you like to begin? Let's just dive
Whew.
in.
Yeah, right. Where would I like to begin? I I have to take it back to my dance days. Growing up in California, I was dancing in Sacramento, California. I've been doing ballet since I was 5 years old.
Oh, I love
My
it.
Yeah, so it's been a while now. My oldest sister was about she was taking ballet classes. So I was, of course, like wanted to be like Clancy. So I started taking class. And I think that my body story begins when I started becoming aware of how I look different from the other people in the room. I grew up in a predominantly white ballet school because most of
Okay.
them are,
Yep.
instead of the select few. So there was only like a handful of us at a time or less.
Yep.
And we may have been in different levels. We weren't always in the room at the same time until we got a little bit older. So I
Okay.
think around fifth grade, around 10 years old, when I
Mm.
started progressing, and getting a little bit more serious about dance, is probably when I really started to notice the differences and the comparison started.
What do you remember specifically as a 10-year-old, Courtney? What specifically was maybe compared about your body to the white girls?
Yeah. I think that I remember the leotard that I was in.
Okay.
They-
Isn't it funny the specifics we can remember?
Right. Like
Gosh.
I remember being in that royal blue leotard and the
Yeah.
pink tights with everyone else and just being like, I look a little rounder than everybody else in here. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
when it kind of started to seep in. And I also started my period at age 10.
Oh my gosh,
Right.
really?
Yes. Yes.
Girl, so
Fifth
that's a
grade.
whole nother layer.
Yes. So that's like when
Wow.
everything started being like, you start noticing those things about your body. You get
Yes.
boobs, all that stuff. So that's when I started getting self-conscious in
Mm.
ballet. It was when the boobs came in and the thickness,
What
started
did
feeling
self-conscious at that young age? Do you remember what that felt like? What was that like for you? Like, what did that look like in
confident.
real life?
In real life, I feel like it was a lot of like adjusting, like
Mm.
a lot of like trying to make sure I look
Yes.
okay all the time. It was a
Mm.
lot of like, well, how can my leg look like her leg? Just those
Mm.
things that start to seep in when you're in the room. And especially
Yes.
in ballet, it's pointed out to you
Mm.
that, by the teachers, it's very, very obvious that they are having you lean towards a slimmer body. And so if you don't have a slim body, they're going to start talking to you about it, right? Especially if they can see that you can take it seriously, they're
Yeah.
going to start pushing you. So moving a little bit forward, probably around like sixth grade, seventh grade. I can't remember all the years, but the ballet school that I was at, they had these little studio companies that you can enjoy
Okay.
along the way. So it was like the petite company when you're younger, and then like there was like a middle, I think it was like an apprentice company, and then it was like the main like studio company like when you get into high school,
Yeah.
right? So I remember auditioning for the petite company, and I didn't get in because of my size.
Really?
So
Was
like
it, and it was said, like they say very clearly.
oh, we had a yeah, so afterwards, like, we, did the audition, I didn't get accepted,
Okay.
and, like, they talked about some technical things that I could work on in the audition, but it pretty much ended with this older woman, and she's old, very older white woman,
Okay.
ended with her talking to my mother and being like, "So, I don't know what you guys eat at your house, I don't know if it's fried chicken, I'm not sure what it is, but I think you really need to get that under wra" Oh, it was a whole thing.
Courtney.
Yeah.
What? Okay, let's just pause right there.
Yep.
How, because I've interviewed another dancer, a friend of mine, and she did talk about how her mom responded to some of those direct conversations.
Mhm.
What did this man like? What was the conversation then between you and your mother? Hearing this, the critique about your body, analyzing and assuming what you're eating at home. What did that sound like between y'all?
Um, I mean, like I remember being after the interview. I mean, she was ticked off, so she was going
Ooh,
on and on. She was like, "I don't know who she thinks he is," da da da. But she was just like, she's like, "Your body's different, and that's okay." Like I do remember her not like putting me down about it, but she was just like, "That is completely absurd." And she's like, "You're so young too." That's the other
yes.
thing. You're 12 years old. Like you're gonna grow out of this. Like this is not the end for you. So like I remember that being like part of the conversation. Like basically what she's saying is BS. Don't
And
listen
you did
to
you
it.
internalize that as BS, Courtney, or did a part of you where you just like, yeah, my mom's right. This is, or did you feel was there something else there as well?
I think that there was definitely something else there as well because it wasn't the last time that happened, right? That
Mm,
wasn't the last time that happened. So there was definitely something else there as well, and I think that that is when I started at a young age being like, well, I'm never going to be a classical ballerina because of
mm. Wow.
my
And
right.
you like it was never, you really told yourself definitively that that was kind of ruled out for you.
Yeah, like there's been a lot of times throughout my career where I thought I was done with dance. And I remember around the age of 10, before I did the next audition, but around the age of 10, like that age when I was transitioning, I quit for like 6 months. Like I left.
Wow.
I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. It's too much. And my mom was like, okay. So like I took a break from ballet probably for like 6 months, and then I realized I wanted to go back. And then after like a week or two from being back, they moved me into the higher level because that's where I needed to be. And that's when I started being like, okay, like I'm gonna do this for now. Like I knew I wanted dance to be part of my life. Um,
Yes.
and so I really wanted to do choreography, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if I was gonna continue. Like, I didn't see myself on the stage in a tutu in that way because of the relationship I had with my body and the way that my body was being judged in the room versus other
Mm, mm.
so that is something that, and it's people ask me all the time about ballet, and I say today, I'm like, I never thought I'd still be doing it at this age. When I was younger, I never thought I'd still be doing it at this age. And
That's
I'm turning 30 this year.
oh my gosh. And do you think you felt that way, Courtney, because of those stories, those early messages you got at a very young age? Like the doubt was already
Yeah,
creeping in.
the doubt was cemented in me, and it still is something that I am actively
Mm,
working through.
yes.
I realized when I was younger, because like, we used to do partnering class, and sometimes the teacher would just kind of like write me off because, lists and stuff like that. I'd be like, oh, you can go there, but he wouldn't like coach me through it. And that was the thing that I realized in hindsight. Yes, my body may have been different, but they still could have taught me and coached me on how to use my body as it was so that I could have a better understanding of what I could do to improve it. You know what I mean?
But you know
But
what's incredible, Courtney? This different, like the word different is it's highlighted right now in this conversation because even that we're seeing right now this movement on just the beauty of different bodies. So the
yeah,
word different, it's almost like I compare it to you're going on a hike, you see all these unique trees, you don't analyze and compare trees, like that tree's taller or stumpier or what you just don't. So
right.
to even hear then like they could have coached me on how my body was different or we're just getting to this revolution of how dancers are dancers. It's movement. It's to see a person embodied in their body that makes them a
Period.
dancer.
Exactly. And it's really wild because like now, I'm teaching ballet now. And there's these teachers that
Yes.
have been teaching for years that don't know how to teach the body. They
Mm,
know how to teach the position. They know, oh, why isn't your leg up there? Get your leg up
yes.
there, get your leg up there. And then they'll come and crank your leg up there. And they're pretty much messing your body up.
Yes.
You're holding a place that you can't be. They don't know how to actually teach bodies. They know how
Yes.
to teach positions.
And
And
this
so,
is what drew me to you, Courtney, because that those couple classes I was like, she is cueing, she's helping me understand this movement. She's cueing and giving modifications, and I'm doing it, and I'm noticing this difference in my body. That
yeah,
when you see somebody embodied in their body, that is to me as it is one of the most powerful feelings is when I know I am so in my body from reaching for a glass. And I feel like as a dancer and as a Pilates instructor, you did that, you know, very well.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And I think that talking through this is probably why I'm so passionate about it
Yes.
now. And it's why I'm so passionate when it comes to my students. I have a student that's in college right now that, she's trying to figure out how to adapt her body to the movement that's giving because, she's having a disconnect with some of her teachers. And
Mm,
so I was telling her, I'm like, listen, I'm like, whether they understand your body or not, you understand your body. You've been doing the
yes.
work. You understand your body. So you have to push that out the way, find out
Yes.
what your goals are, and just keep working on you. Because
Mm,
not everyone is actually here to support your body, which is so interesting. People that are teachers in these movement,
mm.
you know,
You know
they're
what
not.
makes me think about it, Courtney? I know of certain physical pain that I can feel in my body, but I
Mhm.
also know to the outside world, you can see someone's body and just see and say, oh, they're strong, they're fit, they feel good, they're healthy.
Yeah,
So when you are carrying yourself in the world with a healthy, strong body, but you physically feel some pain inside, that has shifted my mindset on me prejudging people's bodies.
yes,
Does that make sense? Like, and I
yes.
think when you get so embodied, you now apply the movement from physical therapy to dance to constantly want to feel your body, even if it's in pain, you still need that connection to it.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Wow. What do you think separates you as a dancer and as someone who's been so in tune since the age of 5?
Mhm.
What do you think makes you a little different from someone who may be disconnected from their body, Courtney?
Um, I think it's just because I've been trained to have to deal with this for so long, you know? I think the pandemic was actually really interesting for me because I wasn't dancing and I wasn't doing a lot of things that I normally do. And so I wasn't, paying attention as much as I
Mm.
would checking in with myself. And so I had to like start working through that. And I thought about that. I'm like, wow, I'm like regular people that like, just go through life all the time. Like they don't have the awareness isn't built into them.
Yes.
And so I think it's really interesting, like, yeah, just having that awareness of my body since the age of 5. And ballet is all about it's about alignment. Like you
Yes.
literally have to align yourself from the inside out in order to succeed in these positions. So I'm constantly finding that adjustment and being like, okay, I'm weak in my low back. What can I do? What is this? What is that? So you're always testing yourself as a dancer when it comes to your body. So I think that's just something that's like second nature for me.
Mm.
Um,
Do
and
people know you're a dancer? Like, I have this keen eye. I think I've just been obsessed with like ballerina and dancer shows. Like, I
uh,
just over and over. Save the Last Dance, just all of the ballerina, like, what's the center stage?
center
So I feel
stage,
like in the world, I have this eye. Like, I'm like, that's a dancer. That's a ballerina. It's just a way, y'all can't even help it. You just sit down and you're just like, It's
Yeah,
yes, I love it.
it's the turn. You just turn it on. It just is what it is. But yeah, no. Most people they ask me if I'm a dancer or if I'm a runner, like a uh, track athlete.
Do
Those
you
like the
have moments? I mean, even as beautiful as your body is, like how you carry it, do you have moments where you check in and feel doubt or body image issues yourself?
yes, all the time.
Really?
This
Can you talk
art
a little bit
form,
about that? Like, what's that like for you?
yeah, this art form is it's really interesting, and I think ballet it's evolving a little bit now. You know, we're becoming a little bit more accepting and open as a society. I think
Yes.
companies still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But as a society, I think we're starting to open up, like you said, just seeing bodies in motion and how beautiful that is. But
Yes.
for myself, I go back to us talking about when I was younger, how that affected me. I started to shrink, right? When
Mm.
I was younger, I didn't really want to be seen like that. Because I was so self-conscious about my body. So I loved to dance and like I would do the roles, but I had such a hard time projecting outward and
Wow.
really being confident about myself that that's still something that I'm battling today
Mm.
as a professional. Most of the time when I'm working with the choreographer, they're like, "Don't look down," or like, "Can you give me more? Can you show me, show me yourself?" And that is like the hardest thing for me to do because I still go in the room and immediately compare my body
Mm.
to everyone around me, whether I am actively worried about it or not. It's a self-conscious thing that as soon as I get in an audition room, I'm comparing my body to everyone else in the room. And I don't know if that's something that I'll ever turn off because it's been on for
Yeah.
so long, but it's something that I'm have to be aware of. Like as soon as that clicks on, I'm like, okay, but you are here, you're in your body, you're okay. Like
Mm.
I haven't talked myself through that.
Yes.
But even then, like, when I come back, like I just started wearing leotards again like 2 weeks ago because like I
Okay.
was comfortable. I didn't was like, oh, I don't like my body looks in the leotard, like I'm out of shape, this and that. So I'm gonna just wear like my bra and my t-shirt while I'm in class. So it's
Okay.
like things like that. I still have that judgment. I still have that
Mm.
self-doubt. Even though I know that I'm strong, even though
Yes, I
I know
know.
even
I
though I
know.
know that my body's in a good place, there's still that 15-year-old, 10-year-old, 23-year-old, let's be real.
Yes,
So,
Courtney. And I think
conscious.
it's so important for women that are listening, just anybody that's watching and listening to this, to hear that even a dancer who is so embodied, who moves with elegance and grace, who's so in tune, can still have these moments of doubt about their own body.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's like you said, it's like just the conditioning
Oh,
around it. But I've just been I've been listening to a few things and it's like, most of the things that you are thinking about yourself, you're projecting onto yourself.
yes.
No one else
Yeah.
is actually thinking about this except for you. And the more I can accept that about myself, the more I can let it go.
Yeah.
Like more I can recognize that I can let it go. And so that's where I'm working through right now. That letting okay, you thought that, yes, yes, we've acknowledged it, yes, it's BS. So
Yeah.
let's move on and like get to what's actually important and go forward
Yes.
from there. And I had to
Yes.
take a second with myself. Like I posted a redo fitness on my fitness page the other day. I posted like the stretch video, and
Yeah.
when I recorded it, I was like, "Oh, I'm not posting that. I look horrible. Like I look so big. Why would I post that?"
Mm.
And then I went to sleep, and then the next morning I was like, "Get over yourself," and then I posted it because like,
Girl, that right there, especially someone, you do online videos and you have a community of people that follow your Pilates classes. So you look and critique and analyze, and that's kind of, I mean, it's a beauty that we can reach people virtually, but you have the power to go back and look at something and spend so much time analyzing to where you don't even put it out into the world. And I know there are
I,
a ton of people in business or what have you that will take a video 10 times over
yep,
and won't even put it out, and it could be full of information that is going to help change someone's life, but they're too busy critiquing themselves.
yes, and like, yeah, 2022. That's the thing that I'm like, I have to get over myself because there's
Mm.
so many things that I do want to share. There's so many things
Yes.
I give, and I want to be authentic to myself as well. Like I want to be authentic to myself. If I'm not like perfectly in shape right now, Who cares? I can still post
Yes.
this video. It's not like life is over, and it's not like you're not going to be in shape again. So just
And you're gonna be like 1,000 times more experience in doing the positions way better than your viewers and the people that are following you to learn. Like
exactly.
you're gonna have
Like,
so much more expertise and cues to give them way
yes.
beyond what they could even know. So
And I'm so worried about myself. Well, I'm not gonna do it. So yeah, I'm working through all of that right now because I'm like, it's been so fun these last few years, getting older and watching all of my friends, start booking all these different gigs and just being like so out and sharing their platform. And I was like, okay, I'm like, I've never really been good at social media. Like I said, I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, like I do things, but I'm over here. But I'm really wanting to do more this year because I'm like, I have a lot to share. So
I'm seeing it too on your Instagram. I'm seeing it. Share your Instagram. How does somebody follow you?
oh yes, yes, yes. I have two pages. I have my Pilates page, which is at Redo You Fitness, and then
Mhm.
I have my dancing professional page, which is at I Am Courtney Renee. So you can pick up on both of those things.
Courtney, how do you talk to your girls that you teach dancing and choreography? How do you the young people that you mentor and they look to you? How does body come up and how do you handle that?
Yeah, it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot. And I just encourage them to focus on themselves. Because ballet, like you said, and especially with social media, there's so
Mm,
much content and they're like, oh my gosh, look at this 15-year-old girl. She's doing this and she's doing that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, okay, you're not doing that now, but
yep.
it doesn't mean that you can't. So if that's something that you want to do, work towards that. But like where you're working is still fine. Like you're developing your muscles. Like you have to take your journey as your own. You can't compare that to someone else's journey. You have no idea what her life is. Maybe she's been homeschooled for her whole life and she's been doing ballet since she was 5 years old. That's not your story. That's
Yes,
okay. It
yes.
doesn't mean that you can't be equally as successful. And so those are the lessons that I really try to instill in them in terms of you know, not not letting the critique get to your head so much because the majority of these people are coming from a place that they can't even comprehend who you are.
Yes.
So
Wow.
why even value their opinion so deeply? Like that's really how I feel. And yeah, when I'm talking to my students and even the younger ones and the older ones as well, especially older women as well that are talking about their bodies and like, oh, I can't do this and I used to be able to do that and I used to be able to do this. I'm like, you're
Mm,
still journeying. The journey isn't over. If you want to get
mm.
to this place, it's possible, but you can't compare, like I said, where you are to where someone else is because you haven't traveled the same path. You don't have the same relationship with your body as they do. So, it's if your leg is here and her leg is there and y'all both are turned out and look like this, you'll get hired too. It's not just about the aesthetic. It's about what everything else that you bring to the table. You know,
Yes. The
dance.
energy and just like all of that.
Yeah. I've been in auditions where there's some people with the highest leg and all of that, and they will not get picked because they're stale. So, like, it
Mm.
doesn't matter what you look like if you don't have anything else to offer.
Oh man,
So
and
work on what
the way
you
that
are.
trickles even into life too, even outside of the dance world, Courtney. Like I can think of very vivid people that I've seen move in the world that just were striking. They
Yeah.
stood out to me, and to maybe like what's the like conventional beauty or conventional standards of what's attractive. They may not be on that cookie cutter line, but boy oh boy, when I tell you the way they carried themselves, the energy, the confidence, the poise, the posture, the color choice they had. I mean, it was just they're so vivid in my mind
Yes.
because
Yes.
of how they lived in their body story. It's just beautiful when I see it in the world. You can't even put a price on it, you know?
No, not at all, not at all. And
Wow.
yeah, that's the thing that I'm really loving about, social media. It has its ups and downs, but what I'm loving is just seeing so many types of bodies in movement right now. It's been helping me because there's a lot of girls that are younger than me that I'm seeing that like were my size that I used to like really freak out about. And I'm looking like, why was I wearing like she was beautiful? Like if I had just stood my ground, like everything would be okay, Like you don't,
Wow.
yeah, you don't have to, especially right now. Like You don't
Mm.
have to reach a certain standard. You just have to be
Yes.
okay with yourself. And
Yes,
that's really all
girl.
that matters.
Oh,
Period.
my sister sent me a video. This girl was tall, thick, doing her thing. I mean, she was just the body movement. Just I'm telling you, when I messaged my sister, my first instinct was this is a woman who is so embodied in the woman in who she is, the wholeness
Yeah.
of her. And
Yeah.
I think that's a part of this mission of this body story movement too, is to I think I want women to walk away even after this interview and you yourself be thinking about something, Courtney. Like you
Mhm.
yourself be thinking about what did I share that's still something I'm in right now. And
Mhm.
as a because I'm assuming movement will just be a part of your life forever, Courtney. How do you think about movement and your body story the next 20 years? Have you thought down the line what that your thoughts about
Yeah.
that, like getting older?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started Redo You because longevity, right? I'm like, well, as soon as I learned Pilates, I was like, well, I can never stop doing this. Like, I can never
Oh,
stop doing this because of how it heals you from the inside out. It just does. And as long as
yes.
I continue to move, I can continue to feel healthy. I was telling my boyfriend earlier because I was, journaling before I came here, and I was like, how my body feels is so directly tied to my mental health,
Mm.
so directly tied to my mental
Girl,
health.
say it again for the people in the back. Yes.
Right?
You
You know,
can't separate them. You
you
just
can't,
can't.
you can't.
There's
And
no
it's like
way.
I used to be such an emotional eater, like I used to
Mm.
be such an emotional eater. Like, and I had lost both my parents right before I moved to New York. So
Yeah.
my first 2 years in New York were first really three solid years in New York were really, really difficult for me. And I was at Dance Theater Harlem in the dance program. So
Yeah.
the body thing was happening and the depression thing was happening and the emotional eating was happening. And so it was like all of that. And I had to get a handle on my mental health
Mm.
so that I could again let it flow through my body. And so now it kind of works both ways now.
Mm.
If I'm having a bad day, like if I'm in like a depressed moment, I'll
Yep.
let like a day or so go by because you do need to be able to feel and like
Yes.
digest where you're at.
You
But then
do.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna get up and go on my bike. You
Yep.
know, I
Yep.
might not be able to do anything, but I'm gonna get on my bike because that's at least gonna make me feel good. And then I
Yes.
can stimulate my mind, and then I can start getting into the deeper root of like why I'm here.
Yep.
So no, I can never let it go. I will always be moving. And in terms of like career and all of that, I'm gonna be dancing. I don't know if I'm going to be like auditioning and performing in like a huge sense for forever, but I'm going
Mm.
to dance for as long as my body allows me to. Um,
Mm.
I'm going to dance for as long as my body allows me to, be it in class, be it in performance. But between the Pilates, choreography has always been my dream, dream, dream. So
Yes.
I'm hoping that in the next 20 years, I'll be a successful choreographer, moving and watching other people move because I'm like you. I realize the reason why I love dance and I like
Mm.
being in the room is because I love watching other dancers.
Oh,
I love being in that space and that energy. I eat it up. It inspires me. Like
so
I was
much.
class the other day and I was in my own head and I saw this girl who was a little bit bigger than me and she was
Yep.
dancing. She was extended. And I was like, that's who I'd like to be. I need that energy. And it fueled me for the rest of class. Just
Oh
seeing other
man.
people so in tune, like you said, just so giving. It really inspires me. So yeah, I have to be around that for forever.
Girl. Oh, I love
It
it.
has to be.
Wow.
Yes.
Woo, so much. Girl, you make me I want to go like put on a leotard after this. I get so
You
inspired from the
know?
interviews. I'm ready to like go do something. What's next?
Yes, yes. Why
Oh my
not?
gosh, Courtney, you've said so much today, hun, and I know there's so many more layers to your story. But for somebody watching on any age, older, younger, your age, what would you want them to take away from your body story that you shared today?
um, I would say that no matter where you are in your life,
Yeah.
no matter where you want to be, just continue to stay true to yourself where you're at and not allow the outside world to tell you how you need to be,
Mm.
right? Making sure that you can fine tune who you are from the inside out. And that's enough. And that's enough.
That is enough. Oh, Courtney, it's just been such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing just
Thank you.
you and your expertise as a dancer and just all of the experiences you've had within your own body story. Very
Thank
grateful to have
you.
you here.
It's been great. Thank you.